Electroblade. Toku for 2. Activate!
Welcome back, everyone, to another exciting episode of Toku for 2. No, we're not going to explain the number. W.
I'll explain it real quick. Just to do a quick interjection, it was originally just me and Christian. That's why.
That is a terrible explanation. Where's the drama? Where's the excitement?
We reserved it for all the different things that we didn't like about Ultra Q.
That's fair.
Yeah, you guys weren't that big on it. Yeah, there was a lot of meh happening. I heard that quite a bit.
Okay, I say that, and yet he's looking at it with nostalgia goggles. He's like, "Yeah, I think I could, rate it higher than what we did. We rated it F, but that was because it was a really bad rating system."
Wow,
I can believe that.
So we're probably not going to be rating this week's episode F unless we're really just straight up trolling people. Because I don't know how you'd have to really be just a jackass. But
no,
I'm sure people have that.
You
opinion,
have to be really petty, or be one of those people who has an issue with black and white movies.
Yeah,
I actually know people like that.
That is a thing. There are people, and if it's too old, it's the same. Not the same people, although sometimes it probably is. It's a similar idea to this game is too old. I can't interface with it. I understand that graphics are a thing. I think that people are way too focused on them, just like I understand that the aesthetics of color and composition are a thing. And that sometimes that's just too much. Both in a literal fashion where people get nauseous because shaky cam got too popular and is still too popular in my opinion. And then two, because they just can't they didn't either start on it and then move into color, which is rarer and rarer as we go forward in time because those people are literally dying, or they can't kind of see past that wall of this just feels very old. And there is a part of me that would argue it's not quite the same as a game that you literally experience, and games are at some point we all have a wall where it's just this is a no, and you need to find some other way to experience the thing to kind of get it. But when it comes to movies, they're all movies are passive. You are watching a thing. But I would argue that when you go back, and this is a good example of it, the farther back you go, it's almost partly the artistic voice and just what was happening in the movie, which is a piece of art. It doesn't quite speak to everyone the same because that's how art works. But also, the farther back you go, the voice becomes almost distorted partly because you do separate from the culture. This was a popular culture thing in the 50s when it came out. World War II ended 10-ish years before this movie. This is all very recent. So think of something from your life from 10 years ago and then go,
sure?
That was the end of one of the largest wars in human history. Here's a movie that very directly references that.
Are you sure it was 10 years?
And you do lose that as you go forward.
I thought it was sooner.
No, dude, it's all about the after effects of World War II.
No, I know it's the after effects of World War II, but I mean, I thought it was it came out closer to World War II. I thought it was 5 years apart.
No,
it came out in 54.
Oh, okay.
That's pretty close.
No, I thought it was 5 years after.
Back in 54.
I thought it was.
Well, I mean, it's really close to that because I don't know. This is my lack of film knowledge. I don't know what year they started making this movie. I also don't know what year the movie started, because movies go through cycles. When you're shooting a film, even in the modern day, 2 to 3 years is generous.
That's very true.
That's short. Even in the modern day, movies can take a very long time to make. So theoretically, during and directly after the war were probably the beginnings of the film in the writer's head. That's where it comes from. This movie very directly references nuclear weapons. Godzilla is a monster of the nuclear age that shows up, decimates Japan, and this is a film with footage of Tokyo getting burned to the ground, basically 10 years after it got burned to the ground. That's a really heavy thing to put in there. I thought because we already talked about it, -1, I thought it was impressive that a modern film would basically show a nuke going off in Tokyo or in a Japanese city at all. this when it fires the beam in -1, it straight up has a mushroom cloud. Like, just that's what it is. But also -1 is amazing, so yeah, you should watch that if you haven't.
Which is why we are planning to watch
you'll
The
probably
Returner,
cry.
because it's that director's first movie, later on.
Yeah, it's a weird crossover. But anywho, going back to this one, we watched the version
Can I make a
that
comment real quick?
lacks. Hmm?
Can I make a comment real quick? So, we were talking about the idea of people not being able to watch black and white movies, and
Yeah.
I want to bring out, obviously my favorite director, Kevin Smith. His very first movie was Clerks, and that movie was filmed in the 90s, and most people who dig Kevin Smith, they fully love that movie. They can do that. But when you try to watch it with other
called a
people who
cult.
aren't really familiar with his work, you can try showing them later stuff first, is what I think you should do, because of the fact that, one, it is in color, but two, it's also like different material to the point where you can see it being more comedic, or have better comedic value compared to what he was trying to propose with the original Clerks movie.
Yeah.
But when I tried watching it with other people back, maybe about 10 years ago, one person really dug it, and the other person, she was just bored out of her mind. She was like, I can't watch anything that's in black and white. I'm going to go to bed. I'm like, okay, wow. But I think with this movie, it's the opposite reaction. Because you can try to colorize it, and I don't think it would have the same effect. In fact, I think it would actually be a lot... I don't want to say worse, but I think it would just have a completely different reaction as to what we get with the black and white version. Because honestly, even with it being as old as it is and in black and white, it still holds up to being a very terrifying movie. And a lot of it has to do with the fact that it is in black and white.
Okay, so
It is a horror movie about a monster that mysteriously shows up and starts destroying things, and they do what they can to deal with it, and it's got all of the hallmarks of 50s sci-fi, where there is a scientist, they come up with a thing, they're like, humanity cannot be trusted with this knowledge, and then they go to the grave with their thing.
That
is a very 50s sci-fi thing to do, and I like it. It's very good. Also, Dr. Serizawa, awesome. Fucking love the guy. He
looks so freaking cool. Looks so freaking cool.
He's so much better than the character they tried to write in the Legendary films to be him.
Yep, that's exactly what I was lamenting.
Mostly because that guy is a vapid shell. Okay, so those of you who like Pokemon, it's the difference between when you get Ninjask, you get literally the ghost-inhabited shell that's left over. The ghost-inhabited shell is the legendary version of this character, and Ninjask, or anything else, is actually a thing. Which is no
Also,
shade on
Ninjas,
Shedinja.
not to be
Shedinja's
confused with
awesome.
Ninjor.
Ghost type. No, not to be confused with that either. Also, again, no shade on Shedinja. Shedinja's awesome. Fucking love Shedinja. It's horrifying, apparently, because if you look at its back, it sucks out your soul and you die. But, most of the ghosts have terrifying descriptions, because Pokemon is a nightmare. But, supernatural stuff is scary. Anywho.
Oh,
indeed.
I was going to bring up the fact that...
What's up?
What got me was the fact that they leaned more into Japanese history and like Japanese folklore, and basically were like, yeah, we always thought Godzilla existed, and we used to sacrifice young girls to him like thousands of years ago, and now all we have is this ritual of the dance is the only thing that remains from that. I'm like, oh. And that was like at the very beginning in the movie, before we even see him.
Yep.
And they're already calling him Godzilla.
It does a lot of, it's a science fiction film from the 50s, so it has a lot of the tropes. Tropes are not bad, they're just frameworks, essentially. But, well, to me. It has a lot of the tropes. It has a monster. You do not see the monster until they build it up. They're like, oh god, and then they show you the thing, and it's scary. It's very horror-coded, where the thing is meant to be terrifying, it's meant to be scary. This is a cautionary tale of sorts. You're not supposed to be, like, necessarily rooting for the monster, although, you always have those people who do. But
you do.
It's written where the humans are the heroes against the natural force that is attacking them. And that's how it's treated. Just like in, Shin Godzilla and in -1. Godzilla is treated like a force of nature. If you just removed Godzilla and made him into a hurricane, it's the same story, including the level of devastation. Like, there's no difference. It's just, it leans more into its theming and stuff and makes it a little bit more fun that it's a rubber suit that breathes radiation.
Yeah.
But if you just change those and did like a Control F and swapped them, it's the same story. It is a force of nature that cannot be denied, bearing down on humans who are doing everything they can to try and survive it and to overcome it. And that's what it's a tale of.
Mm-hmm.
I figure if anything's going to be a tail, it's giant lizard smash with tail, but okay.
Actually, is there lizard tail smash in this
Yes, there
one?
is. I
There is tail
specifically
smash,
remember
right?
it, too. It's where Godzilla's walking along in the city, and you actually see, like, a bottom shot where it's just his
yeah,
leg,
yeah.
and then you can see the fold of the tail moving around, and then it cuts to a giant building, and you can see the tail being lifted up and then slams right into it.
I'm gonna say that
Yeah. Also, bear in mind, I have watched a lot of Godzilla and monster movies. Things do blend over time. So,
True.
I may forget some stuff here and there.
That's actually one of the reasons why I wanted to introduce this to our Toku show, mainly due to the fact that I haven't seen all of them. I've only seen, like, maybe just the bare minimum and the American movies. That's about
They
it.
also-
So it's like,
Yeah, they change a lot over time. This is a
Yes.
franchise that is like, this is much more akin, I know I brought up Pokemon, that was just for that example. Godzilla is more like Digimon, where you truly don't know what you're going to get every time something happens, because it's a wild reinvention, and you're just like, oh, okay, we're doing this now. Occasionally, they will be related to each other, but generally, they are all kind of on their own, and they all borrow from the same... It feels like
they're usually one-offs.
multiple
Godzilla
people
versus
telling us...
Frankenstein.
They're usually one-offs.
I'm sorry.
Like, each movie is a one-off. It
Yes.
sometimes they are
Yes.
connected, but
Different.
vaguely connected, because
Yes.
it's just how it is.
Different eras will have different, speaking of tropes, different eras of Godzilla have different tropes for Godzilla, but other than that, generally the movies are completely standalone and separate, much like in Digimon, where occasionally they will reference each other, but generally every single season is a completely different universe. They don't even talk about each other. So this is like if you ask 9 people to describe something, you get 9 descriptions. This is that. They're all describing the same thing, but you're getting this different version every time you turn to someone new. And that's essentially the story and how it works. It's how they do it there, and that's how they do it a lot in Godzilla. There are certain movies that will tie together. There are certain eras that will have tropes that are pretty heavy. Like, I mean, Godzilla's been everything from a doting father to a force of nature that decimates entire cities and potentially the planet. Also, Godzilla has saved the planet from multiple aliens, sometimes more than once. It's just how it
And
works.
Godzilla has saved people from the thing that they created to kill him. And it's...
Yes, he had that
so
happens.
many times.
It's real funny when they try to murder him and then go, "Oh no, we can't control it." That happens. That's a Godzilla trope. That is a thing that totally has happened more than once.
That's happened a shit ton of times.
It
was
I
like,
love it. Yeah, I think there's the '90s has a movie where they stick the skeleton of the original one that dies in this movie inside a robot armor. And then the skeleton
Godzilla
awakens.
against Mechagodzilla.
Yep. And then the skeleton awakens, and they proceed to tag team the city, and it becomes a WWE match.
Dude, I got to watch
great.
that movie in theaters a few years ago. That movie was fucking fantastic. I cannot wait to watch that again.
Oh, it's so goddamn goofy. And there's parts of Godzilla that are like that. It's amazing. It's wonderful. It's so silly. There's the long-standing tradition of, at one point they basically added psychic powers to the Godzilla universe, and they were like, those are a thing that just exist in this
freaking
universe.
hated that.
And for multiple films, the Godzilla Corps, who exists solely to deal with him, have a psychic division, and there's this one girl who shows up in like 6 of the movies. It's so good.
like, she can feel when he's angry
she-
and wants to come and is coming.
She literally can, like, think of it like new types. She can reach out and read the emotional state of Godzilla and then, like, partially influence it. Kinda. Like, she can't, when Godzilla's making a decision and in a mood completely overpowers her. But she can influence when he's in a more calm state, with him or Godzilla junior She can influence them to like do stuff, and she can like call them over because she can actually like reach out and touch their mind, whereas normally they can talk to us and understand us about as well as us trying to speak with an ant. It's so tiny and so different that there's no way you can't.
An ant that shoots lasers out of its butt.
Okay. Leave that ant alone.
Yeah, probably.
Leave that ant alone.
Also, just as another side note, Godzilla has been a doting father, but Godzilla has also slapped the fuck off of a man's face for daring to become I forget what he did exactly, but I'm pretty sure it's Godzilla 2000. He walks up to this guy, and the dude like yells at him, and Godzilla just slaps the building. His hand comes down on the man, and he takes out that guy and about 6 floors all at the same time.
Wild.
Yeah.
No, he slapped him. He walked up to the man and is like, "This is your fault," and then proceeded to smash him.
Oh, and let's not forget the
fantastic.
Brisk commercial, the Brisk Godzilla commercial, because that was real. Didn't air here.
Oh, there's
I love that commercial.
there's a lot of that was real when it comes to Godzilla. Yeah.
Oh man.
And then, this is us going on a bit of tangents, but it's funny that in 54 they make this, and Godzilla pretty quickly goes from, like, horror movie character to, within the next 20 years, they've done Godzilla Monster Island, where a kid is, like, chased into a construction site, falls, smacks his head, and his Alice in Wonderland trip is to Monster Island, where he meets Manila, who can grow big, grow tiny, and Manila is Godzilla's son, and
Is it Manila or Minya?
It really depends on the.
It depends on your pronunciation.
I think it depends on your pronunciation and
spelled.
the time you've seen it, because they do have an issue with who dubs it or who subbed it, because they changed
and
it.
how they put it together. Because I don't know what his official... I think his official spelling is Manila. I think that's the official spelling. I'd have to go look it up, what Toho has. But you can pronounce it both ways. I'm sure they say in Japanese Minya, but I'm also sure that if you like wrote it down, if you wanted to, you could say it in English, Manila, because Minilla, I think is how it's done.
Okay.
But again, that depends, because they do different things. I mean, at one point, the movies, several of them have different titles depending on what dub you're watching. Are you watching the English dub? I think even it changes, obviously, for like, Italian and English and German and Australian and New Zealand.
I remember there being once a... I know it wasn't... It was Space Mecha Godzilla, and all it was just Mecha Godzilla, but they mixed up on the translation when they brought it over, and it wound up them putting space in front instead of Mecha Godzilla for a while. I remember that, but that was just like dumb as hell, and it was quickly rectified.
And again, as time goes forward, we learn more. Because, like, when I was a kid, my friend and I, who were really into Godzilla movies, looked up, like, screenshots from movies that we could not watch. We could not get a copy of. And we were trying to figure out, like, what is that? And then we were digging around on Netscape Navigator.
Oh, I missed that.
To see what they were. And trying to figure out what is... Okay, so that's called Batra. Probably Mothra, but a bat, I guess? And no idea what that was. Then I wound up getting a copy of Space Godzilla. And that movie, speaking of related, directly references the Batra film, because the way it works, they carry Godzilla away at the end of that movie, and like when Batra and Mothra ascend, it's very weird, to space and become like magical entities. Batra took a piece of Godzilla that was like stuck to it, some of its cells. Those cells fall through a black hole and become Space Godzilla, which then turns around, flies back to Earth, and you have to fight it. The Godzilla franchise is magical. And in that film, Mothra is basically a spiritual being only, and energy moths will show up and the twins will talk to people. And
I always hated that.
I don't know, man. The greater Godzilla lore is fascinating. It gets really weird. But anyways, back to 1954 when this all started. They
Back
were
in
like,
54.
hey, I got an idea for a movie. It's going to have a guy in a suit blowing up a city.
I will say
Yeah.
the suit, like, stills do not do it justice. Seeing it in motion,
No, it looks better in motion.
it looks so
like a
good.
3DS game.
It looks so good. It does
I
stand
agree.
up. Like I
Yeah. It
I'm like
also certain scenes look better than others because of the
the
angle.
angle, and on top of that, just. No, I was gonna say, okay. They look better than the Gavan show that we're watching. Not Infinity, the one from the 70s. This suit looks better than any I've seen on that show so far.
I will disagree as the Godzilla fan.
Oh,
Damn.
The original Godzilla is good, but there are scenes where I know what they're going for and they're not hitting it. Because this is like one of the first movies to really do this. And I think they improved the suit pretty quickly. I mean, compare the first movie to just the second one, which I guess neither of you have seen. Okay, so as the only one who's seen that one, that's the one that introduces Anguirus, and the two of them fight, and you have a much larger amount of people in suits kicking cardboard buildings and throwing each other. And I think that it's higher fidelity in that one. I also think that, to be totally honest, the cameras that they shot the original movie on were just not up to snuff. There are parts of this movie that I hesitate to ask someone to try and like get a computer to make it look slightly better, because they'll probably F it up and it'll look worse. But like, what did it actually look like? Like when they were filming it, what did they see? Because there are parts where, and this was a problem with black and white footage, this movie has night shots, or at least fake night shots, and then there's a lot of dark. Like when he attacks the city, it's at night, but there are parts that do get lost. You lose because the camera just can't pick up what's there, and you do lose some stuff. I think that a higher bit of fidelity might have actually made it look a little better, and might have helped a little, because you can compare this directly to the next film that they did, where it's still black and white, but like the lighting is better. You can see what's going on. Like it's a different presentation, essentially.
I don't know. You might be right. Again, without me having seen many things within that time period for Godzilla movies, I can't really use any other reference than what we've got and what we just watched. But personally for me, the way that it looked absolutely, like, I wouldn't say gorgeous. I think it worked well enough for what they did, what they managed to capture. Because like I said, like, it is still, from all the different points of view, especially for the nighttime scenes, you can definitely see the terrifying angle that they were going for. And you know, like, even with him just like going up to the electric fence, going up to the radio tower.
Oh, those are
all
just
of that
those are just power lines.
Worked. I mean, yeah, well, regardless, it was like an electric fence to me.
Yes, it is. Functionally for him, it basically was, but technically at that time, that was just power lines. They do eventually make an electric fence to stop him in one of the movies.
Do they really?
that was like the dumbest thing I've ever.
Yeah, oh, they make all sorts of goofy shit. My friend, it gets silly. One of my favorite versions of Godzilla is Dopey Godzilla from like the 70s. He has these like really big eyes, and that's the suit that gives like not so much definition to his shape, but like it gives him a ton of movement. So
Is
they
it the one
where
where
all
they
the
start
silly
giving him the fish eyes?
Yeah.
The one where
think-
that's the time period where he starts to do, like, in one of the movies, he jumps into the air, shoots his beam, and uses it as a jet engine.
I
to
remember
I've
that.
seen that. That is
Oh.
absolutely
It's so-
hilarious.
Exactly. And Godzilla goes through phases, okay? 70s Godzilla was a trip. So
That's
wild.
awesome.
Yeah, no,
but
that's a very different tone.
But back to the night shots. Honestly, like, it worked for me every single moment about it. The only time where I wouldn't even necessarily say that it was like anything involving the actual Godzilla suit. It was some of the special effects that they tried to do with, like, you know, the random car falling over. It's just like, that looked like stop motion, and that just looked really, really out of place. like random small stuff like that. But
certain
as
effects.
a whole,
And again,
I think it worked.
And again, this is a movie made in Japan barely a decade after the war ended, and they were devastated. Mm-hmm. So the fact that they made all of this work at all is very impressive, given the situation that they were in. And it also feeds into the narrative that they were going with. It's a dark, scary movie, very much communicating the fear and the dread after and during the war. That's what it's about, which is also part of the reason they changed it for the American audiences. They did it partly because that was an untested thing. Just dubbing a Japanese film and dumping it into American cinemas would have been a little odd. Plus, the Japanese people are the heroes, and just 10 years ago, America finished a war where they hated the Japanese, and that was definitely a thing that they were thinking of when they were putting that together, and they were like, we should probably, head some of this off. They only weirdly did it for the first one, though, and then just, stopped after that. They've only ever done that level of heavy editing and changing for the first movie, where they basically make a second version of it. And then after that, it got so popular that people were like, oh, it's just, at the end of the day, it's essentially just a giant monster movie, so we're fine. We could just release it, with an English dub so people can not have to read the whole movie. But yeah, we could just release it. It's fine. And then they did. And, everybody moved on and we were all happy and we just get more monster movies. But, that's probably also part of it. The messaging in the original, they were probably worried about the idea that it is all of them on the back foot fighting against this force and trying to overcome it. It is a message technically of hope through darkness. Yeah. So
that basically that the Empire will be
maybe
fine.
Not. Yeah, it's like if you made a Star Wars movie where the Empire are the heroes, and you're like,
well, it's basically saying
it would work.
I think the movie was primarily more of, okay, even though the Japanese people lost a war, we can still protect ourselves and keep ourselves safe from anything. It felt a lot like propaganda,
that's part of the messaging of the
and
movie.
Heck, in the beginning, even the starting crawl, it says we give thanks and support to the Japanese Coast Guard for allowing them to borrow the ships for the filming of the movie.
Yeah, because they did film some of it actually on boats, kind of like how American movies will borrow the military and get B-roll or just straight up shoot on their stuff sometimes. It's kind of like that. God, the more we talk about this, the more my brain sees parallels to -1. Shit.
So another way to compare it, strictly the face that they managed to accurately portray, almost like as if it were coming from the original movie. What it looks like when it's coming out of the water and it starts chasing the boat. God, -1 is so good.
Yes, -1 is stunning and amazing. I fucking cried at that movie because of its messaging. But
it is very, very tear-worthy.
Okay, look, you know how years ago to wrap this around, years ago I went to Star Wars Celebration and Kevin Smith was there and he did a thing. And he comes out and everybody's cheering, and because he told a story about how one of his friends who had passed was really into Star Wars, and him getting to do this thing at Celebration was kind of like a full circle moment for him. And then everybody was cheering and he's like, fuck you guys, making me cry, this is bullshit. And then he talked about how as you get older, stuff just affects you differently, and
that's Kevin
you
for you.
feel things a lot more. That line in particular, I find applying way more to me than I ever thought it would. As you age, you have more experience and more knowledge, and you mostly have more experience. You just have been around more. Fuck, the things affect me more than they ever did before. There's a scene in -1 where a kid is screaming and they just cut out all the sound, so that's all you hear. God, that scene is hard to watch. I don't even have kids. That would be painful if I had children. Jesus.
Okay, I need to ask because I still have not yet watched -1. I was going to watch it.
What?
I have not. Okay, my reason for it.
I recommend both versions, color and.
My reason for it.
I also recommend the dub. The dub is actually really good.
My reason for not watching it yet was because I was going to go and see it in theaters because they bring it back all the time. I was going to go and see it.
they're not going to be releasing that in theaters
Yeah, I
anytime
know.
soon. Not until maybe after the second movie.
No, I
comes
know.
out.
But
Yeah, they'll do a double feature
yeah,
somewhere.
but it was like last year they released it in theaters again, and I was gonna go and see it,
Yeah,
but then I got
because they were also doing in minus
yeah,
color.
and I got sick with COVID when it was there, so I wasn't able to see it. But I keep forgetting to
So,
watch it.
just-
But I in for my
I think they're both
yeah, I know.
Netflix.
I was literally gonna ask which one do you recommend seeing first? -1 in color or
yeah, no,
in
I've had this. Yep, I have had this talk in my head.
Or in black and white.
So I haven't seen the minus color version yet, but I honestly do recommend the dub. Dubbing has come a long way since the original
Oh, I
Godzilla
know
movies
that
that were
much.
released in America.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh,
And
yeah.
dude, this dub is so goddamn good. It actually has one of my favorite voice actors who was in it. He played the main voice actor for Squid Game.
Oh, cool.
And he
Oh.
was also in one of the Yakuza spin-off series as the lead character in that too. And once you were able to hear him, you're like, oh shit, he's playing the lead role. God damn, he's so goddamn good.
God, you're so goddamn good.
No, I would recommend. I haven't gone back to watch both because I saw both in theaters. They're very good. I would recommend color first, only so you can kind of soak everything in, and then go back and rewatch it in black and white. Because so the way they did the black and white, rather than just color correcting and turning it into
Oh, I
gray,
know
which would be boring and terrible and stupid, they legitimately went over the entire film and turned it into like a simulation of black and white. So they adjusted the lighting in the scenes to be different. And when it's in black and white, your focus is different in each scene because now that it's in black and white, it is taking so much visual information away from you. Your attention is drawn to different parts. And I think that just it's a really pretty movie. So I recommend watching it in color so you can kind of see everything and soak it all in. And
Yeah,
then watching
taking
it in
on
black
that
and white
new-
to see that the focus shift and to have the frame of reference for I remember what this looked like before. Oh, this feels different now. And then just kind of experience it in a new way. That's how I would see it. That's my
Maybe I'll
personal
do that this
recommendation.
weekend.
I'm gonna do that tonight.
Color and then take the one without
I'm gonna
color.
do that once we're done here. Well, I'm gonna take some cold medicine and then
Yeah,
watch
no, it's-
the movie.
They are very good. -1 is wonderful. I'm excited to see what the next part's going to be. -1 is very good, and it's not even like it's a Godzilla movie. I love those, but that's not even the part that I like the most about it. I like it that it's a really good movie about the cost of war and the price that people pay for it. It's a very good film. I did not expect a Godzilla movie to be that, but here we are.
Oh, you mean like the argument that you always give me? Oh, it's a giant monster movie. What do you think why should we even care about the people? Motherfucker, these people, you want to root for them.
2014 does not make that argument for you. We're not going there.
No.
Even
no,
Bryan
no.
Cranston couldn't save
No,
it.
Kick-Ass should have died and saved us the trouble. They killed Bryan Cranston like idiots and then gave us his shitty son.
Yep.
But anywho.
You mean Craven?
No.
Fuck, he was
that.
Craven, isn't he? I need to watch that movie. I heard it's
No, you don't. No, you
goofy.
don't. That is the worst of all of those Spider-Man spin-off movies.
That
No,
is
no.
worse than
Nothing could be worse
the
than
film where they
Morbius.
completely destroy Madam Web. Really, that's worse than
I,
that one.
I saw
Madam
Madam Web.
Web is so bad that it's kind of enjoyable to watch, but it's still really bad. Like, you could probably do it as a cult status type movie. Even Morbius.
Morbius was horrible.
Is tolerable. Craven
Keep
is
forgetting
not.
about Morbius. I need to watch.
Okay,
that
I've
movie.
seen
It's
I've
not
seen
a
Morbius
bad-
and
I mean,
I've seen Morbius and Madam Web. Morbius was worse.
as a vibe.
Morbius was worse.
No.
Madam, okay,
The only really bad thing about Morbius is probably the really weird sexual dance scene that Matt Smith does.
that should not have been in the movie, and the fact that
That sounds
okay, what bothered me the most about it is literally he's wearing these $1,000 suits and has the junkiest
and then does it shirtless.
yeah, and then he's like, no. I'm like, and then he throws on like these Walmart brand sneakers on, as he's like just running around town like, oh, I'm all hot stuff now that I'm cured from all my diseases and I'm a vampire. Ha! Like, I'm sorry.
Way to ruin Morbius for people, Paul.
No, I mean save.
Spoilers.
I've saved people.
For a character who's existed since like the 60s, but yeah,
I've
sure.
saved people from watching that.
Paul was like one of the very few people who actually tried to keep it in the theaters for a second time.
I didn't want to keep it in there for a second time.
You know how I watched that movie? It was when they did the fucking Movie Pass. That's how I watched that movie.
Ooh, nice. That's a good use of that, actually.
Yeah, before Movie Pass went under.
It's back.
Yeah, can't have a good thing. Anywho, back to the movie we actually all watched. Godzilla 1954. Yep. Now, the reason we keep getting very tangential is because Shin Godzilla and Godzilla Minus One are both basically modern translations by different directors of the feeling of the original, where it takes a darker tone, a harsher tone, you follow the people, and it's people versus this giant overwhelming force. That's how they both structure it, and they do, all three of them structure it, and they do it in a way where you're not bored and just kind of asking, but where's the giant monster? They do it well. 54 does it where it has a slow burn build up. You eventually get around to finally seeing the monster. They're like, holy crap, it's real. And then they have to deal with it being a thing. And they have to go to this crackpot professor who's really on the fringe of science. And they wind up having to get him to do a thing to defeat the giant creature. And it's just overall a very harsh and dark film with a very harsh tone.
Yeah.
A lot of people are killed. A lot of stuff is destroyed. Lots of terror. And then at the end, somebody has to do a thing that they find essentially morally reprehensible to save everyone and protect all of the people who are left. But even in doing that, it is still incredibly destructive. You are fighting fire with fire instead of water. And it is still dangerous.
Yep.
That is, in a nutshell, kind of how the movie works. I am curious, since this was Sean's first time. Was this your first time?
Second time.
Second time. Okay. Was this your first time, Paul? Going like all the way through on it?
Going all the way through, yes. I originally saw it when I was... Ooh, damn.
When I was
pregnant.
No,
okay, the first time I saw this movie...
That's a food baby, and that happens every day.
The first time I saw this movie was the first time I got a flu when I was living in New York. And my dad rented it.
Oh, so you'll go and watch the movie when you have the flu, but not when you have COVID? You fucker.
I was literally 7 years old.
Oh, boy.
I'm not advocating going anywhere while being COVID. I just wanted to yell at you.
No, I was literally 7 years old. My dad rented it from the video store because the dude at the video store knew us so well. He knew I would like this movie. And
was it a local Albertsons?
No, it was like a local... It was like an independently owned... It was a independently owned video store. He rented it. The last thing I remember of seeing this movie originally was up to the point where they see Godzilla's head over the hills. Like, I think in the first 45 minutes.
It was a very, very iconic moment.
And
man, so okay, I need to pipe in on this one. Every frame of reference that they have, where it's just like different POV shots, where you can see everything, like kind of like what they did with the Hobbits and the Lord of the Rings movie, where everything was just filmed in a certain way to make everything look really small or really big.
Yeah,
they did perfectly. Oh my god, they did perfectly.
Oh yeah,
it was a technique that had been around for decades, and they knew what they were doing. This is from the era where that was how you did the thing. How do you make a small thing look big? That you just play with where stuff is, and then you position the camera perfectly so that the camera, as far as the audience is concerned, this is the truth. That is not at all the truth, but that's how we make it work.
Gives the perspective.
It's kind of like how they recently installed a chunk of... The only description I have for it is they installed a chunk of fence at my work for some weird reason. I have to assume it is some sort of like legal fulfillment, because they want to stop people from walking down this concrete path that stops at a curb, and then
I know
after
exactly
that it's
what you're
just
talking
parking
about.
they put up a 4 feet. You could just walk around it. It's fine if you wanted. But they put up like 4 feet just to dead stop right there. And it looks like the kind of thing that you would do for a movie where you wanted to film where someone's leaning on a fence, but you don't have a fence. So you just borrow one, put it there, and then put the camera the perfect distance so that it can't see how far away from, like, it can't see the end of the fence, not realizing that just beyond the frame, like if the actor moves their arm up, they will all of a sudden reach past the end of the railing.
Because
So are you saying that you're on the fence about perspective?
Well, no, it's how Wes Anderson does his movies.
Yep.
Majority of his movies are.
I was making a joke.
No, I know, but I'm just saying, perspective is a gimmick that has been used for years, and a lot of directors use it very well. A lot of Wes Anderson's movies are.
You still do it now.
They do it now, and it's something that lasts, and it's something that you won't. They can't. It's too expensive to recreate the effects, when you can just do perspective.
Yeah, perspective is the cheapest option. Our brains are wired in such a way that we have known for centuries how to fool them, and artists have taken advantage of that for a very long time. We still do it all the time. There are videos online where people do that just to mess with you, and it's just like a joke and silly and funny. And it works, because that's how your brain works. We have known that trick for a long time, but it is so much fun to see people do it at a really, really high level.
Paul Rudd does it whenever he's on like random night talk shows, and he does it by doing forced camera perspective, holding up his thumb and his finger to the camera in a certain way to make it look like there's a giant ass, right above whoever's in the frame.
Oh, yeah.
He does do that, yeah.
It's still going, people.
Yep. There's also, speaking of reference and perspective, there is if you look at the moon, it looks so big when it's near the horizon, and when it's higher in the sky, it looks smaller. It's not. Your brain is being tricked because you have stuff to compare it to. If you hold out your thumb next to the moon, it will look the same every single time, because the moon does not change where it is in the sky. Not enough that you can tell. But when it's lower in the horizon, closer to the ground, you have all this stuff that's closer to you, and your brain gets tricked into thinking that it's bigger. It is not. That is purely an optical illusion. That's it.
So, case in point, bigger is not always better.
No, you just need forced perspective on your profile pictures online. We've told you this.
I mean, I'm doing all from mid-range, man. Everyone's got to see that gut.
Speaking of guts, Berserk is a wonderful anime.
Damn, that was a good transition. That was a good transition.
That is a wholesome show, anime and manga, all iterations of it. You should definitely, parents, if you're listening, definitely show your children it. Don't screen it beforehand. You want to be surprised, just like them.
Disclaimer, don't listen to a goddamn word this thing he just said.
No, listen. If they start screaming out Griffin, they're actually absorbing the material.
Just remember, Griffin is the hero. You want your children to emulate him. Definitely emulate Griffin.
Oh, God.
That is the character that they should try to mold their life like.
Damn.
Anyways, now that lovely, beautiful disclaimer is over, going back to this film, I will say that I think they have a bright future ahead of them. I think they could definitely make a sequel to this. Definitely.
I mean, they allude to it at the very end of the movie.
Well, yeah, technically, because they do the, I think they do the 50s. We got rid of this one, but who knows how many others there are?
Right.
Did we get them all? And it's, I mean, no, they didn't.
No,
they never did. It's like saying, did this film make enough money? That's the question that every movie asks when it ends. Did we make enough money?
I actually do have a question. This is related to Godzilla as a whole. So yes, they have made multiple sequels.
Yes. They've remade several of the films, actually, technically.
True, but on top of that, they also have it in some of the sequels where another Godzilla has shown up. Like, for instance, Godzilla against Mechagodzilla. How another one was, is now in existence even after the other one has been destroyed by the events of this first movie here. So, like...
Yes. Do they ever explain it?
So there are, like, other Godzillas in canon, or is it just because of their own canon?
So, depending on the movie, Godzilla plays fast and loose with the idea of lore, but if I was to give a lore for Godzilla, in the Japanese series of movies, Godzilla is a Godzillasaurus mutated by radiation from nuclear testing. That's the basic description of Godzilla, and then they kind of do whatever they want after that. Since Godzilla is a lizard, and Godzilla is one by itself, they do occasionally make other ones. They'll be like, oh, we got one, but, Godzilla wasn't the only one. Like I said, he's a father in a couple of the movies. In Godzilla vs. Destroya and Godzilla vs. Space Godzilla, there's Godzilla, and then what they call Godzilla Jr. Those are names applied by the humans. Godzilla doesn't ever talk, doesn't ever say anything. They just know that Godzilla protects the younger one, and they are both the same species.
They assume they're
so they
both
refer
the same
to them
species.
as Godzilla.
They assume that they're both the same species, although...
Have there ever been Godzilla bounty hunters?
I haven't seen all the movies, but probably.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of films where people try to take Godzilla out, like, first, or where they, like, screw up and because they're too eager to try and take him down.
What was that alien?
The reason why I'm asking is because when you said, oh, yeah, because now they can say, oh, we got one, and I just immediately thought Ghostbusters, where Annie Potts screams out, we got one! And thinking that it was just because they ended up bounty hunting Godzilla.
I mean, not necessarily bounty hunting, because Godzilla is essentially a force of nature in most of the movies, so if anyone could deal with it, everyone would be very grateful. He does keep going after nuclear power plants, kind of not a great thing for the humans, or anything. But also, in a lot of the movies, there's an entire island of monsters in the ocean, this mysterious island that is filled with, like, a spider the size of Godzilla, a giant praying mantis species, because there's a bunch of them, Ebera, which is a giant lobster, crawfish, shrimp thing. Then there's, what else? There's Manda, which is basically your traditional long, slender dragon. That's its whole thing. Then there's Gorosaurus shows up. If I remember right, in one or two of them, which is just a like T-Rex essentially. Doesn't breathe fire or anything. Just a big old dinosaur, like slightly shorter than Godzilla. Just cause.
Yeah, the majority of things are smaller than Godzilla, or slightly shorter than Godzilla. I think only Ghidorah is taller.
Very much main character. Yeah, got that whole main character thing going on. So, like, Godzilla has to be taller than everyone else, because Godzilla's the main one. With the exception of, like, Ghidorah, which is huge compared to all of them. But Ghidorah is also literally an alien from another planet. So, there you go. Also, aliens are just a thing in the Godzilla universe. 100% a thing that show up multiple times in multiple films. The aliens secretly being giant insects, also a thing that they do more than once.
I mean, don't forget, mystic, monsters like Mothra.
Mothra is...
Mothra is a giant moth that is always female, except for the one time that it wasn't, where it becomes a shonen main character, because that one was a boy.
God.
And they were like, oh, well, we're going to just make you a shonen main character. You're going to get transformations, and you're going to power up over time. Sure.
What?
Yeah, there is the Mothra trilogy of movies with the only male Mothra is that one. And in each of those films, it gets a transformation and basically shonen power levels up through those movies.
I need to find these movies. What the fuck?
Mothra originally is very, like, motherly and takes care of stuff, and there's a lot of heavy theming to that.
Yep.
But, like, the one time they made it a boy, they're like, no, he's going to be a teenager, and he's going to be a fucking Shonen Pro Tag. So they
That's
did.
wild.
And yeah, there's an entire
Is that the-
trilogy of
Is that the one that has like the red laser beam that it shoots out from its mouth? Because I could have swore one of them had it.
Maybe it. So one of the transformations, it turns into like a metal Mothra, and it like flies super fast.
Mm-hmm.
Like imagine
So-
Mothra but wearing armor.
I do want to keep on talking about this stuff, but I think we should go back to the movie.
Yeah. But literally,
Yeah,
this
so-
movie...
I know this is basically a retrospective, but essentially, this film starts it
Yeah,
all.
this movie started the giant monster. In my opinion, this is the movie that started
Started
it.
the
The craze. This movie gave birth to Gamera, to freaking...
I don't know if it did. Did it?
Gamera came out after
This
this.
is my lack of knowledge on Gamera.
I know Gamera
What's up?
came out after this. But,
To be fair, though, Ultra Q did their own slight version of Gamera beforehand. It was a one-off episode where they had a flying turtle that had machine-like controls, and it operated like a fucking magic carpet ride. It was so weird. You guys should definitely watch it, and then come back to me and be like, what the fuck did I watch? It's almost like watching a fever dream, but back in 1950.
oh yeah, Gamera came out in 1965. The first one. First film was made in 1965. And...
So if I remember right, Gamera's from the same studio. I think.
I don't know. I don't think he
I can take a
is.
look.
Gamera and
Go ahead.
Godzilla have a lot of similar theming. The big difference is Gamera is very, very literally like the defender of children. And I mean that
yeah.
very literally. Like he bonds to children, and they like can summon him to protect them. And he shows up like your big brother, who can shoot lasers and is a turtle the size of a skyscraper.
Yeah, but that's only after.
Like that kind
Yeah,
of
that was
bonding.
like after
Gamera
like the
is
first or
is
second.
wild.
I think that was after like the second movie where they turned him into like the guardian of children, and he's like,
Yep, and they just kept that
Yeah.
theming, even though the films kept still like being harsh. Gamera was still protecting kids. They just kind of adapted the tone as they went forward in time. Gamera's another great series to get into, but going back to technically the reason we're out here, I kind of wanted to hear you two have both watched this a lot less than I have. Though mostly I have watched the English one with Raymond Burr.
I
Perry
have not
Mason.
watched the one with
So-
Raymond Burr. I have just seen this one, the Japanese
It is
version.
interesting, but it does. I think it still preserves enough of the tone and enough of the stuff. Like it still opens with him nearly dying as the city is devastated, and then proceeds to flash back to tell part of the story. So it still opens with the right tone, just in a different way.
So, just to do another side interjection here,
boy.
a couple of years ago, I went to the Oldsmar flea market, which may or may not still be open. I have no idea. But I went there and was just looking around to see what they had, and there was this one shop that had a bunch of DVDs. I'm just looking through, I'm like, I'm just picking through different things just to see if they had anything. And then suddenly, I see this giant section of nothing but like monster movies. And in it was a bunch of different Godzilla movies and other no-named monsters. I'm like, I need this. And so I got them all for like $5-10 each. It was relatively cheap, and they were all sealed. And one of them was a double disc of both Godzilla and Gojira. So
Nice.
yeah,
Oh, nice.
I
Yeah, that is
can
both
watch it at
cuts.
any time if I want to.
That is both cuts. Generally, you'll see it referred to as Gojira when they're doing the Japanese, and then Godzilla when it's the American one.
Yep.
That's
And it
that's
actually
like
has
the
it
shorthand.
labeled that way on both discs too.
Yeah, that's the shorthand when you're looking it up. Also, I will say now, in the modern day, most of the time, if you look up a now Blu-ray version, like Criterion Collection and stuff like that, you're going to get both movies. It's going to have both. There's going to be special features. It's going to, it treats them as the same movie. You generally will get both at the same time. Because splitting them up, one, you don't have to because a Blu-ray can hold both films and special features. And then two, it's just they're two halves of the same whole, realistically. Watching just one is fine, but watching both is far more interesting. And we're at a point where they are well loved enough that they are held up to a standard, and it's like, if you're going to get one, you should just kind of have both. So
because both are a part of the they are a part of both are a part of the lore, and having one doesn't do either of them justice.
Yeah, it's nice to get the perspective of both and to experience both. And if you're going so far as to buy a copy of them, they're like, you probably want both. You probably want to hear the whole thing and experience each. It's very similar to Universal Studios has been releasing their old monster movies in collectible sets, and going as far back, they'll batch them to like all 4 of the original Dracula, all 4 of this one, all 3 of the Creature from the Black Lagoon movies. Yes, there were 3.
Yep, I've seen all
4 or 5 of the Frankenstein films. Like they're putting them all together so that you can experience as much of it as possible, including going so far as to have the Dracula film, the original Dracula with Bela Lugosi, and the Spanish version of it, which is literally the entire movie reshot with different actors, but entirely in Spanish. One of the first Spanish language features ever. And the way they would shoot it is during the day they would shoot the original with Bela Lugosi, the one everybody knew, in English, and then the exact same sets and shots would happen at night with the Spanish cast. And they would have the same marks on the ground and everything, so they would just mirror what had been filmed earlier. So the 2 movies are the same film, like shot for shot, but it's 2 completely different casts. So totally different feel as far as what you see them bring to the character. I think the description I heard most was the Bela Lugosi is very eyes heavy. That was what he chose to focus on, and where he drew a lot of like the intimidation for the character and a lot of that. And then the other actor took a different take on it and didn't quite do it the same way. They're both different interpretations of the same character. It's very interesting that a Spanish language feature goes that far back in their catalog, and B, that they were trying to shoot essentially the same movie rather than just redubbing it. They're like, no, we'll just shoot the entire thing, but in a different language with totally different actors. So there's your fun film fact for the day.
So, going back to Gamera real quick. So it's not Toho that made Gamera, it's Daiei Films. You know what else they've done?
Right.
What else do they do?
You're gonna fucking laugh at this. They have an anime production label.
Oh, God.
They do hentai.
Wow. Wow.
Specifically, La Blue Girl.
Oh my gosh.
So it's a giant monster movie. Got it.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
That's really funny.
But they've also,
really
like, in their
funny.
regular label, they've got, like, Rashomon, they've got a whole bunch of other movies that started back in 1949.
Wow.
Going through all this other stuff here, like, they've got a lot
It
that
is-
I have never heard of before.
It has always been weird to me that Gamera and Godzilla never, like, Marvel team up.
No, that explains that one.
They're not at the same studio, and that's why.
I
It's
mean,
kind
I
of
think
like
nowadays
how
they
Marvel...
could.
No.
Oh, 100%. But Gamera does... I think the last thing they made for Gamera was the animated stuff. I don't know that they've made a live-action Gamera in a while.
Well, they did the Heisei stuff, which, you know, that was like the trilogy of movies.
That was the 90s.
Was it?
Yeah.
Shit, hang on. Yeah, Gamera 3, The Revenge of Iris, 1999. Holy shit.
It's been like almost 30 years since a Gamera movie came out.
They also they've also worked with Takashi Miike on a bunch of different things. One of them being the 2 Dead or Alive Yakuza movies.
Oh,
I'm sorry, 3 Dead or Alive Yakuza movies by Takashi Miike. Good lord.
Our bad. Gamera the Brave came out in 2006, so 20 years.
okay.
But the anime came out a lot sooner recently. I think that was like within the last 5 years, wasn't it?
Yeah, the Netflix Gamera anime, which is really good, that just came out a few years ago. So that's kind of like the modern... Gamera also is, unlike Godzilla, did not get big enough to just go everywhere. So all of that space taken up by Godzilla took away from other things. Gamera is a much shorter filmography. You can watch all of the Gamera films, and it's not all that many. It's a surprisingly short list with large jumps of time between them sometimes. And And then Godzilla, the exact opposite. Godzilla came out, became insanely popular, and just not only are there a ton of main Godzilla movies, there are comic books, there are animated shows going all the way back to the 60s and the 70s. It became such a popular franchise that it went everywhere. But when you soak up that much attention, other things won't get as much attention. So even though Gamera did well, it would probably work better now where there's more people to consume the content, essentially. Back in the day, where everything was much more limited, and if you were taking the attention, you were genuinely removing it from someone else. It's not how it worked. And Gamera, I don't think, had the wide appeal in every country the way that Godzilla did, because Godzilla just became worldwide, and Gamera got there, but never quite the same. Granted, the schoolyard arguments of who would win in a fight, probably epic. There were probably fist fights over that one.
I could see that.
Yeah.
100% there were kids decking each other over which one of the giant monsters that they love would win.
By the way, almost one other thing. Breaking news, Christian Bale says Godzilla is his favorite movie monster. Quote, "I love Godzilla. All the different kinds, Shin Godzilla, Monster vs. Godzilla, all the older Japanese movies. These are things I love watching." Christian Bale said that, people. So you know Godzilla even affects giant movie stars.
That man has taste, I guess. Huh.
Yeah.
Weird. That means
Wow.
theoretically I could sit down and he and I could have a 6-hour conversation about giant monster films and never mention anything he's ever been in.
Patreon stretch goal, everybody. We're going to try to take
Christian Bale. We won't have to bring up Batman.
I don't think Christian Bale can be arsed to talk to us. Let's not drag that poor man through this.
Yeah.
I mean, imagine if he was able to just nerd out with us just to do that. That would
Honestly,
we don't need to talk about anything he's done as much as I like those things. We can just talk about Godzilla for 8 hours. I'm fine with that.
Man, oh my god. Don't stop. Just stop. I don't need to have that kind of hope in my life.
I was gonna say I don't think we
just
could get
discuss
that.
Giant monster films, sci-fi from 80 years ago. Fuck, I don't care. That sounds
I was gonna say the biggest actor we probably could get that would definitely nerd out with us would have been Henry Cavill, because you know he loves to nerd out at every chance he possibly can.
The only way that anybody would probably even remotely come to this podcast is by saying, "Hey, do you guys have a following?" No? Oh, sweet. I don't have to worry about all the rabid fans.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
Your fans won't know you were on here. The SEO of our podcast
Like, we could even
is so
title
small.
it the Henry Cavill episode.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, dude, we could tag him, like his official accounts, and it would probably still only get like 1,000 views. And then that's it.
Barely.
And then it'd be like, and then people will go, "Wait, I'm sorry, you interviewed who?"
Yeah.
We go, "Yeah, no, we talked to him for like 8 hours.
Yeah.
It was just us chilling." And then like, hey, 40K is cool. Yeah, it is. And then just bullshitting.
Yeah, I could so be like that.
God.
I could so see that happening.
Like that or fucking Vin Diesel? That's just a goddamn nerd.
He has too big of an ego.
I mean, probably, but yeah.
But yeah, that would be freaking awesome.
I would find it hilarious if 10 years from now we're sitting there and we've interviewed all these people, but our following is still the same. And it's just us having fun and then telling anecdotal stories about that time we interviewed blank, and just having people in dinner conversations go wide-eyed and stare at us and be like, "You what now?"
Yeah. It's on the internet. You can literally listen to it.
He's really cool. You should definitely, I mean, this is entirely unrealistic, but I guess if you could have a conversation with him, he's a cool dude.
I'm going to title this episode Godzilla the Tangent episode, or Godzilla Tangent.
Okay.
I mean, as much as I feel very bad about that, I am sorry, Sean.
Honestly, this episode, like, reviewing the Godzilla movie, the only thing we're going to say is that it's an amazing movie. You should watch it. It holds up today.
Yeah.
And if we are putting it on a ranking, it is an S-tier movie. They did nothing wrong. This movie created a genre.
Well,
it's funny you bring up rankings,
funny
Paul.
you should say that, Sean, what is your ranking for this movie, and how fast will it get us canceled off the internet?
Oh, straight up F tier. F for fisheye.
Is
No,
it
I'm just
F
kidding.
for this movie fucks? Is that what you're saying?
This movie definitely
wow.
fucks.
I could say that, but no. This movie sucks. That's why it's an S rank.
Oh, that was so good. I'm so proud of you.
Mm-hmm.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
That's so good. So yeah, I guess Paul thinks you should watch it, but Sean thinks that you would be harming your mental capacity if you did watch it. So you're really going to have to make that decision for yourself.
I mean, in all seriousness, I think it's an S movie. It's
Yeah.
so goddamn good.
It literally founded it. So again, Godzilla did not invent the wheel, but this is one of those. It did it so fucking
That
well
it might as well have.
that everyone loved it. Like it's one of those things where you didn't do it first, but you did it better, and that's how that works. Just because you're not the first. This also goes with art in general. Just because you're not the first person to do a thing, literally all art is derivative. Don't worry so much about that. Just say the thing in your unique voice. That's the part that counts.
As that woman
that's
says on
kind of where
TikTok,
this
say
is.
the weird thing.
So Selena Gomez.
Yeah.
Is that her? Because I thought it was some other random woman that was on TikTok.
Oh no, that's just a thing going around TikTok and Shorts. But you said weird, and I'm reminded of this thing that Selena Gomez and her partner have decided to share with the world, and it's just weird.
Oh, yeah, I
feel
don't
like
know about that. Don't know if I
feel like
care.
I'm kink shaming, but
Yeah,
we can.
don't know
we
if
can
I
just
care.
skip it. we just,
I don't
it's
don't
weird.
kink shame.
It's their thing, but you know what? That just.
There's a different.
Tangent upon tangent. Anyways, so just to clarify as to where we're going to go ahead and put this ranking, we all agree that it's an S ranking.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah. How could I not?
So, within our general Toku for 2 rankings, in case nobody has actually listened to any of the other episodes, we're going to go over this real quick. We have different tiers for all the different things that we're going to end up watching, starting with Season 2. The only other thing that we're going to be putting on here from Season 1 is Ultra Q. We're going to put that in our D rank. I'll go over that in just a second. But S rank means that it is a supreme movie. There is absolutely nothing wrong with it, no flaws. It's just perfect. A, it is near perfect, maybe some missteps, but it's damn near close. B means that it's good, but there are quite a few missteps that, it's keeping it from being the best thing. C means that it's middle of the road, it's a very mid movie, it's not great, it's not awful, it's just, it exists. D is, it exists, I guess, question mark? It's bad, but it has potential of at least being something where you can recognize it and say, it's okay. And then F is bottom tier, the worst thing that we could ever watch, and we have yet to come across anything like that yet. So, for S rank, we all agree. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, you could think of S tier as strongly recommend that you look it up, essentially.
Yes.
Like, if you were putting together in all of our shows that we bother to rank things, if we put something that high, we're basically being like, no, you should probably go watch it. Like,
Exactly.
Like, it's really good.
Like, if we ever decide to do a redo of Godzilla -1, which I might, just so I could have the excuse of doing minus color, I would definitely put that in S tier, and it'd probably go as number 1. I don't think anything would beat that. Like, probably the closest thing would be Shin Godzilla. But the other thing that we have on here is Ultra Q, which I mentioned before. It is in our D rank. Originally, we did rate that as F before, but the problem is my ranking system for that was absolutely terrible. We were basically just doing on a 2-point score, thumbs up, thumbs down. We didn't really know what we were doing. It was pretty bad. So when we decided to finally start with Season 2, I came up with this ranking system that I borrowed from Kinda Funny in Review, and this is actually gonna put
so you
Ultra
stole
Q.
it.
It's an homage. So we're gonna put Ultra Q in the D tier because Ultra Q isn't terrible, but it has more bad episodes than good. And because of the fact that it actually does have some good redeeming qualities to it, it's still all around not a great show. We're gonna put it as D tier.
Okay.
That's all I got on that.
So when you say so the only 2 things on this entire list are the original Godzilla movie and then this Ultra Q. That's it.
Yes.
Nothing else is there.
I mean, we reviewed other things, but I'm gonna be honest. The way that we reviewed things was very haphazard, because like
Okay.
we would go
I mean, that's
like,
fine.
because the way that we would do things, and I think it's just because we had really low attention spans back then, and we still do, but I'm trying to make it more focused.
I need this episode.
We would review like 3 or 4 things at a time, and we would try to get it all done in an hour, and just like do it like a bullet point style. I'm like, I don't really like doing that anymore. I actually want to have like thought out and make sure that we're actually talking about it.
Yeah, I realize that we went heavily tangential. I will personally blame in a good way the fact that this movie is so stupidly influential and echoes so far forward that just it's hard for me to talk about it and not relate it to those other things that it is very clearly influenced and has led to. Like it's really hard not to do that. Like we could, but I don't know that book report style is really how I would prefer to talk about this one.
No.
This movie, it is literally, it created a genre, and I'm not saying,
Essentially,
it
popularized it.
popularized.
Paul's a bitch genre.
It popularized a genre that has stood the test of time. It has come over, and let's be honest, Godzilla has come over twice. Has come over the ocean.
There are 2 American versions of Godzilla, 2 very distinct, unique versions made up by America. And like 50.
Oh, I'm sorry. Wait,
America, fuck no.
I'm sorry. 3 times.
That was pretty much. How that worked, yeah.
I apologize. It came over 3 times because I would be dishonoring the memory of Godzilla and Friends, the anime.
And Friends.
Well,
You're talking about
the
Hanna-Barbera
Hanna-Barbera cartoon, the Godzilla.
where Godzilla actually breathed fire, because it was based off of the Marvel comic where Godzilla actually breathed fire, not radiation, not like the actual original film. Breathed fire like a dragon. Also green.
And
fun fact, the reason Godzilla is green in some iterations, Godzilla is not. The original version of Godzilla is black like charcoal. Not just because it's a black and white film, that was the actual color of the suit. What happened was the original film poster for 1954 Godzilla, when they released it over here, there was some sort of like printing thing that happened, and they printed some posters with a green hue to it. And then later on, Godzilla became green in the live-action movies. But the Hanna-Barbera show Godzilla is green. Some of the Marvel comics, which were still drawn black and white, but when you saw covers, would have Godzilla with green skin like a lizard. So Godzilla being green was kind of a marketing oopsie, and then just sort of became part of the thing. And then, generally, Godzilla stayed green, especially in animation. They only reach back to make him, like, pitch black charcoal sometimes. So there's your other fun fact.
Godzilla's green, fuck no.
Marketing, fuck yeah. You picked the wrong color.
I was going to say that's
Shit.
kind of similar to the, it sounds kind of similar to the Hulk, to how the Hulk was.
Yeah, Hulk being green because they fucked up the printing. He was supposed to be gray. He was supposed to be sad boy, and then accidentally green and purple because they fucked up the printer. They're like, oh no, we don't have that. We can't do that. Make him green. It's okay. Gray Hulk comes back eventually, and then we eventually get one of my favorite versions, Mr. Fix-It, which is a weird 90s version of the Hulk.
Yeah, that was weird as hell. But yes, I will say Godzilla's come over multiple times, and he has stood the test of time. He
Big lizard go boom. People love it.
And it's something that he is so recognizable that he has appeared in other things. Like, there used to be a thing in the 90s.
Speaking of homage.
Yeah. Like, I was just going to bring up, like, back in the 90s, you would see, like, in the background of kids' bedrooms, they would have a Godzilla figurine in the background of most kids' bedrooms. I was like, yeah.
Yeah, right up there with dinosaurs and race cars.
He became a staple. But Godzilla is something that this movie literally, it's the epitome of every Godzilla movie you will see. It is the best of everything. There is no bad parts about it, and it just reminds you of everything you enjoy because you've seen something that was like Godzilla. There is nothing wrong with this.
Final thoughts, Sean?
Nothing, because Paul went on there and I kind of just zoned out.
Okay.
That is incredibly rude.
It's a Sean thing to do. It is literally a Sean thing to do.
It is a very
Just
Sean
know
thing to
that
do.
having to edit Paul down is a real pain in the ass.
Fine.
So, yeah, essentially, it's a strong recommend from all of us. I was a big fan of the franchise when I was a kid. I still like them. I still enjoy them in different ways and take different things from the movies. But, giant thing on screen is always fun. I still think it's worth watching. I still think that some people will need a bit of a primer and like hey, this movie's really fucking old. Most of the people who acted in this film died of old age because it's that old, even to kids. So just keep that in mind. This is a very old film, but it is worth a watch, especially if you're open to anything over 50 plus years old in
It's
film,
so
and that is
old
considered
that
a big part of film history.
That even on current edits of the movie, it still has that film grain and different blotches that show up.
This is a gritty, it is a literally gritty movie, especially if you watch the original cut. Because when they shot the Raymond Burr stuff, it was shot on higher quality cameras. Because the studio that did it, I think, had more money, or they had more money at that point. But the original parts, there are some crunchy parts of the film. I would love to see those cleaned up. I don't know if you can do it without losing something in the process. So.
Well, apparently somebody was doing a colorized restoration cut a few years ago, but there has been no announcement on it since.
I think they began to do it, and then they realized halfway through it was removing something from the movie and just stopped. Because
that might be part of it.
I could definitely see that happening.
Yeah. I will also say that I am open to going back so far in film history. I have watched the Journey to the Moon silent film. I'm willing to go to the very start.
You watched the moon landing.
What? Well, no, I watched the moon landing, but that was after this.
Yeah.
I thought you never mind. It was funnier in my head.
That or the original Metropolis. I still have an appreciation for things going all the way back to the very start of it. So I am very open to watching pretty much anything, and I understand that is not your average viewer. So, but still great, still fun, still holds up. There are also several iconic scenes in this that did get heavily directly homaged in some of the newer ones. -1 does the train scene really well.
Yes, it does. But one thing that I really want to point out, any time that you see Godzilla open up his mouth and you can see all the different fangs, and because the way that it was lit, this is why I really like the dark scenes, but the way that it was lit, it legit looked like he looked like a monster. There's no other way to describe it. He looked like a literal monster. And
yep, he comes off as
I
amorphous
could see
sometimes,
anybody else seeing that in theaters and freaking the fuck out. It was it's a terrifying look.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they don't play. There's not a lot in this movie played for levity. It is a straight drama, and Godzilla is treated as a horror monster, a villain, and the thing that is coming to get you in the dark. So there's a lot happening there. It's very cool.
So with that said, Will, do you have any special sign-off for today's Godzilla episode?
Probably expect something really clever to go here.
Or something really cheap.
That's what we have you here for.
Motherfucker.
To be totally honest, Godzilla is just a fun franchise. It's goofy, it's silly, it's serious. It's pretty much everything. Full range of emotions that they have managed to apply. Full range of tones, everything at this point. And it's a lot of fun to go back through. I'm always probably going to love it. I'm always probably going to enjoy it. And I will probably go to all of the new ones that hit theaters. So yeah, I love the franchise. I love what it's done. And I love that it's still around. Big thank you to the team for making it.
God damn it.
Now,
your final note is going to be the original Godzilla yell was made by messing with a cello. That sound that Godzilla makes is like the dragging, scraping.
Mm-hmm.
They did that with an actual cello. That is a musical sound that they got out of an instrument to make that
Can either
noise.
of you make that noise on your own so we can use that as the
Nope.
final
No.
moment here?
Not even my throat hurts thinking how you sound like a fucking zombie. It's a different Godzilla movie, damn it.
damn.
Fuck! Alright, you know what? I'll just do it. Token for 2 activated. Have a good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone.
Good night, everyone. And run like Godzilla's chasing.